Computer systems are offline. This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Let's go. This is your radio. Your station.
GGR. Good Governance Radio.
All right, good morning. This is Good Governance Radio, GGR. And this morning, we are set to take you through the newspaper headlines. My name is Chris Bassi. This morning, we have three newspaper with us here in the studio. We have the Vanguard newspaper of today, Friday, June 4, 2021. We also have the This Day newspaper, and we have the Blueprint newspaper. Well, we want to start taking the headlines from the This Day newspaper with this one that says Emefiele guarantees manufacturer steady supply of forex. The rider harps on environmental protection, sustainable banking principles. Africa's oil-producing nations rally against threats to fossil fuels. Obasanjo, bad leadership has turned Nigeria to land of bitterness, sadness. With the rider, insecurity does not make Nigeria a failed state. That's according to the federal government. The presidency says foreign magazines' opinion on Nigeria distorted, unfair. DHQ alleges fear of mass retirement. INEC presses for law to transmit election results electronically. And taking this one from the back page of the This Day newspaper, an anti-corruption model. That's an editorial. All right, we move to the Blueprints newspaper to take some of the headlines here, with the first one that says COVID-19, $1.5 million clinical trial costs for vaccines. Big challenge. That's according to the federal government. Use of technology has come to stay. INEC tells election riggers. Nigeria achieves 35% local content compliance in 10 years. That's according to the Minister of Petroleum, Temipra Silva. And this one says Nigeria feels with bitterness and sadness. That's according to the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. That story seems to appear on almost all the dailies this morning. Constitution review. We are handicapped by laws. That's according to the Senate Deputy President. Please confirm killing of 7 in Osun bank robbery. And this one says media criticism of our administration in nation's interest. Jonathan, with the rider, tax stakeholders on FOI Act, fake news. Practitioners should set the agenda for way out of security challenge. That's according to the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan. And taking this one from an editorial from the back page of the Blueprints newspaper that says we are still dancing on the brink. You can read up the details of that. And now moving to the Vanguard newspaper with the bold headlines that says we can't give Nigeria a new constitution who's saying that. That's coming from the Senate with the rider. FCT Minister, original inhabitant disagree over status of Abuja City. NLC wants immunity clause out of constitution for all elected officials. CAN seeks proper definition of indigent residency, creation of new states. Orders. Number of cases on appeal to Supreme Court keep rising. That's according to the CGN. And still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, NDDC board, militants vow no retreat as Akpabio meets Tompolo. Nigeria home to $9,100 millionaire worth 207 billion. That's according to a report. State of the nation, Nigeria dripping bitterness, sadness. That's according to former President Obasanjo. And this one says, Malami denies asking Buhari to suspend constitution, declare martial law. Niger government in talks with abductors to ensure release of 136 kidnapped pupils. Explosives, 422 killed in 2020, 1.5 million in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe. That's according to a report from the United Nations. And this one says, coerced appointment, there will be no mass retirement in army. That's according to the defense headquarters. PDP governors defecting to APC to avoid EFCC. Well, I'm not the one saying that. That's coming from the governor of Benue State, Sambolo Tom. I'm taking you through the sport pages of the Vanguard newspaper with this bold headline that says Super Eagles ready to rumble with Cameroon. Of course, that's a match coming up much later today between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Kickoff is at about 8:30 p.m. local time. Ancelotti ready to offer Bell Madrid lifeline. The Halloween's Player of the Month award. And taking you to the world of tennis, talking about the French Open. Injury retires world number one, Ashley Barty. PSG make contact with Ronaldo. And Victor Moses market value rises. And still on the sport page of the Vanguard newspaper, taking you through some of the fixtures of matches, friendly matches today. Finland will take on Estonia. Latvia will take on Lithuania. Malta will take on Kosovo. North Macedonia will take on Kazakhstan. Spain will play Portugal. Hungary will take on Cyprus. Faroe Island will take on Iceland. Italy will trade tackle with Czech Republic. Slovenia will take on Gibraltar. And of course, the match that involves us is the one between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, slated for 8:30 p.m. tonight. And results of some of the World Cup qualifiers played yesterday, I have a long list of them right here. So for details of all of this, you can pick up a copy of the Vanguard newspaper to read up all the stories that we actually read, the headlines for you. We'll be going for a short break, and when we come back, we'll probably take a few details of the headlines, stories that we gave to you in just a moment. Please do stay with us. This is still Good Governance Radio, GGR.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station.
GGR, Good Governance Radio.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio.
Your online radio, the new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio.
All right, this is still Good Governance Radio, and we are taking you through the newspaper headlines and the details of it. At about this time, we want to take some of the details of the headlines that we read earlier on. And taking this particular story from the This Day newspaper, it has the headline, "The Obasanjo bad leadership has turned Nigeria to land of bitterness, sadness." Former President Olusegun Obasanjo yesterday expressed worry over the state of the nation and blamed bad leadership for the nation's woes. The former president, while receiving a book titled "The Man, the General, and the President," written by Femi Karena, said in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital, that even though the country is destined to be a land flowing with milk and honey, bad leadership has made it unachievable. According to him, the country is currently dripping with bitterness and sadness, but despite the worsening insecurity, the federal government has said it is preposterous for anyone to declare Nigeria a failed state on the basis of country's security challenges. The All Progressives Congress APC also said alleged plots by some Nigerians to bring down the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari were failed. Obasanjo stated that although Nigeria is destined to lead to black race, failure of leadership has prevented the country from taking its rightful place in the Committee of Developed Nation. He said, and I quote, "My prayer is that all of us will have something to contribute to making this country what God has created it to be, a land flowing with milk and honey." End of quote. Obasanjo bad leadership has turned Nigeria to land of bitterness. You can still read more details of that from the This Day newspaper. Let's take this particular one. DHQ allays fear of mass retirement. The Defense Headquarters, DHQ, yesterday alleged concerned about possible mass retirement of top military officers superior to the Chief of Army Staff Major General Farouk Yahya. It said, contrary to report of an impending exodus of about 30 generals in the military, following the appointment of Yahya, member of the 37 regular corps of Nigeria Defense Academy, NDA. Other major generals and equivalent ranks in the military senior to him will still remain. All right, this one says INEC presses for law to transmit election results electronically. That story is on page 5 of the These Day newspaper. All right, giving you details of that. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, yesterday called for legislation to transmit the results of 2023 elections electronically. The commission also showcased new processes for voters' registration and transmission of results from ward level to the final declaration. It said beginning from June 28, when the voters' registration will commence, facial capture will be added with the age determination factor to discourage underage voters. The commission said it will use a new artificial intelligence to determine perceived underage voters. INEC, however, said all these innovations were subject to the passage of the new electoral law currently before the National Assembly. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, in his presentation through the Director of Information Communication and Technology, Dr. Chidi Nwafo, said under the new electronic voting, there would no longer be any malfunctioning of the permanent voters card PVC on the ground that there is no internet or network. All right, this seems to be a very, very good development coming from INEC. This is what Nigerians have actually been clamoring for. So electronic voting and transmission of results is definitely going to help. And of course, to curb election malpractices and other vices that is always associated with elections in the country. All right, let's move to the Vanguard newspaper and take a few details of the headlines that we read to you earlier on. And starting from the Niger Delta, where NDDC board inauguration, militants vow no retreat as Akpabio meets Tompolo. That story is on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, was in Oborosa, traditional headquarters of Baramachu Kingdom in Delta State yesterday, where he met General Officer Commanding GOC, Niger Delta Struggle Government Ekpemo Polo, aka Tompolo. This came as Niger Delta Avengers Group vowed to cripple all oil installations in the region if the presidency fails to constitute a substantial board for Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. To be recalled that last Sunday, Tompolo gave President Muhammadu Buhari a 7-day ultimatum to inaugurate the governing board of NDDC, a development that triggered fresh tension in the region. And while the coordinator of the Ijo monitoring group, Chief Joseph Eva, has thrown his weight behind the ultimatum. And during the visit, Akpabio pleaded with them to see reason with him, but the people stood by the 7-day ultimatum given by Tompolo and agitators to constitute the substantive board of the NDDC. All right, NDDC board militants are vowed no retreat as Akpabio meets Tompolo. Okay, Tompolo is back in the limelight again. I think some times ago he was declared wanted by the federal government. So now he is back, and it seems every section of the country is now agitating for one thing or the other. We do not pray to have the militant, in the Niger Delta takes up their arms again, because that is going to be very, very dangerous and disturbing for the country. Now let's take this one still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. We can't give Nigeria a new constitution. Who's saying this? That's coming from the Senate. Of course, details of that story is found on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. The Senate said yesterday it cannot give Nigeria a brand new constitution as demanded by some socio-political and cultural organizations in the country, saying the best it could do was to amend the existing one as it was currently doing. It will be recalled that the Southern and Middle Belt Forum had repeatedly argued the National Assembly was wasting its time amending the present constitution, contending that what the country needs is a new constitution written by the people. And reacting to this, the National Assembly, the Senate, arms of it, says yesterday, during the opening of a 2-day national public hearing on the further alteration to the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 in Abuja yesterday, Deputy Senate President and Chairman, Committee on Review of the 1999 Constitution, Senator Ovie Omoagege, APC Delta Central, said, though the Senate respects the opinion of some persons who want a new constitution, a section of the Constitution does not give the National Assembly the powers to produce a brand new constitution. Omoagege, who assured Nigerians that the committee will be guided strictly by best legislative practices, highest ethical standards, integrity, open-mindedness, and patriotism, however, implore everyone, irrespective of political learning and other affiliations, to abide by the same standard in their contribution. We can't give Nigeria a brand new constitution. That's coming from the Senate. And of course, this particular story too is of interest to Nigeria, where with the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, is talking here. Malami denies asking Buhari to suspend constitution, declare martial law. That's the details of that story is found on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, and it goes thus. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, was described as false and fictitious a report alleging that he sent a secret memo to President Muhammadu Buhari urging him to suspend the 1999 Constitution and declare martial law in the country. Martial law involves temporary imposition of military authority to take over normal civilians' functions after the suspension of civil law by a government. It is usually invoked in time of war, rebellion, or natural disaster. When martial law is in effect, the military commander of an area has unlimited authority to make and enforce laws as situations demand. And of course, the Attorney General has actually come out to deny this particular, allegation leveled against him. National security overrides economic interests. That's according to the federal government, and it says it reduced kidnapping banditry in 2019-2020. All right, let me take this very important story that has to do with, Governor Otom. He's always been in the news for almost not the right reason in the recent past. And what was he saying? He said PDP governors defecting to APC to avoid EFCC. How true is that? I think that question, the answer could be provided by Sambo Otom. Now, the details to that story says Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State said yesterday that governors elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and other defecting to the All Progressives Congress, APC, were doing so to avoid invitation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. He insisted that all PDP governors were the ones commissioning projects across the country because, as they are performing, are delivering democracy dividends to their people. Otom, who made the assertion in Markadi shortly after returning from Oyo State, where he was invited to commission selected projects by Governor Sheyi Makinde, insisted that defecting to the ruling party will not serve those who soiled their hands from rendering accounts and are facing justice. He said, and I quote him, I have been in this game since 1982, which is close to 40 years now. So you always see all this drama. Some people are afraid of EFCC. That is why they are decamping to APC. Recall that a former chairman of the APC once said that if you decamp to APC, your sins are forgiven. I could recall that particular statement, and that statement was credited or is credited to Oshomole back then. But then Otom also defected to the PDP a few years ago from the APC. And a lot of people have been saying you're going around helping other state governors to commission projects. When are you also going to invite them to come and commission projects in Benue State? Because that seems to be the only state where no projects have actually been commissioned or none is even taking place. And let me take this final one is a pictorial representation here on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. And that the picture of still in the spirit of defection. I think this is where Otom was actually, beaming his searchlight on or referring to Buhari meets Ayade. Yes, the pictorial representation here sees the governor of Cross River State, who was formerly of PDP, now the APC governor, for the first time yesterday met with the president as an APC governor at the State House. So President Muhammadu Buhari receives Governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade, who recently defected to the All Progressives Congress from the PDP at the State House yesterday. With them is Professor Ibrahim Gambari, talking about the chief of staff to the president. So Ayade's picture conspicuously displayed here on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper with the president and his chief of staff talking about Ibrahim Gambari. Now let's quickly take just one sports story detail, one that has to do with the Super Eagles friendly game with their African counterpart, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. The Super Eagles says they are determined to extend an unbeaten streak of 5 matches when they confront the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon at the Stadio Vienna and Neustadt in the Austrian capital in an international friendly tonight. 3-time African champions Nigeria have not lost a match since they were edged by the hot goal by reigning African champions Algeria in an international friendly also in Austria in October 2020. Since then, they have drawn 1-1 with Tunisia's Carthage Eagles in a friendly match, drawn 4-4 and goalless with Sierra Leone in the back-to-back 2021 AFCON qualifying matches in November 2020. Defeated Benin Republic 1-0 in Porto Novo in October 2021. AFCON qualifiers and walloped Lesotho 3-0 in the final to the 2021 AFCON qualifying race in Lagos. Defender Anthony Zochukwu, who plays for Spartak Trnava of Slovakia, joined up with the Eagles camp at the Hilton Garden Hotel in Austria on Wednesday, moving the needles on the number of players in camp to 21. Both fierce rivals on the African continent will again clash in a second game, also at the same stadium in Vienna on 3 days later. So, a big match coming up today between the Super Eagles and their perennial rivals, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. It's always a big match, anytime, any day, irrespective of what it is, whether friendly or a competitive game. The two nations are always, bitter rivals, and definitely we look forward to see them rekindle that rivalry much later tonight. Kickoff is 8:30, so you definitely have to stay glued to your television set and get to enjoy that particular one. Well, this is still Good Governance Radio, GGR. We've just done justice to the newspaper review this morning by taking the headlines and some of the details from the dailies this morning. And that would definitely wraps it up for today. Monday will be another time where we'll be back here to take you through the same routine of newspaper review. And by then we'll definitely have the guys back in the studio for the analysis and the review and preview of major headlines on our dailies. Till then, I remain yours truly, Chris Bassey, signing out. To have a wonderful weekend, and bye for now.
Chapter systems are offline. This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us.